No, he just.
Have any brothers or sisters around here?
Well, they were all. Well, he had two brothers in California, Samuel Coker and Melvin Coker. And
The family came from Mississippi about what year, you know?
no, I don't. He was working for
You know
Mama.
when they got married?
No, I've got the license down home.
Okay, how long had you been in this territory before you started working for this mine?
I don't. I know he was working when Lem got killed. So Mama said.
What did they do? Have a farmland?
Yeah, they were farming.
And whereabouts did they farm?
Down there in the Moffett Bottoms, there used to be a log house. They called it Old Lattimore House.
Lattimore?
Uh-huh.
How did Lattimore?
On the hill, on the way from Shady Grove to Fort Smith. And that's where they lived. And Lilma was quite spin for it, I guess, because Mama was in debt pretty bad. Pops married her and they got out. Well,
He lived down, when did he move down to where I would make the house? Down.
that's where he moved when he first moved to
Oh,
Moto.
he lived at one place there. Okay, and how many brothers and sisters? You said City was the oldest, but all you all.
Yeah.
So when you lived there, you had how many?
Had Charlie and Dutch,
But that didn't take long, though.
Terzi and me.
And, let's see, Sidney married who?
Maine Faulkner.
May? Faulkner? This?
No, not that name.
Oh,
Her aunt.
oh, okay. And, did he move to California?
Well, not until after Maine died. They had two children, Edith and Hub. And Maine died when Edith was about a month old. And Sidney married Della McAfee.
McAfee, MCAFE.
Yeah.
I think me, I told her that McAfee, I'm not sure.
And they moved to California. And Mama raised Edith.
And,
Mama kept Edith. Husband was Sidney.
Okay, that would be COKER then.
Herbert.
Herbert. Albert or Herbert?
Herbert, H-E-R-B-E-R-T.
And then the next one it would have been,
Charlie.
mine.
Coker.
Oh, okay. Charlie Mize, and Charlie Coker, and he married,
Out in Mitchell.
and she was from,
Well, she sold her land to Joe Alexander.
who was Joy Alexander Baker?
Well, this guy that owned all that land. She was an Indian. And she sold her land to Joe Alexander.
Who was Joy Alexander Baker?
Well, this guy that owned all that land down in the Moffett Bottoms.
Who was her Indian land down on the bottom? So she sold that.
Then they lived out by the graveyard where Cartha Ramey lives now, only in a different house,
Yeah.
until they moved to town.
Now, was that house part of your daddy lived in that house? Or?
No, when they first moved to town, they moved in where the Mark McDowell is now.
There on the highway?
Yeah. But it's not the same house.
No, that's, okay, and, after Charlie, who was that?
Ori Howard, Dutch, we called him Dutch.
Okay, and Dutch married
Nanny Smith.
Smith.
Uh-huh.
Funny, I always thought that was weird. Then, where did Danny come from? Where did he go?
She got from over around Howe, but they had a cafe there in Moto.
How?
Uh-huh.
Okay, and then, the next one would have been,
Tercy. And she married a guy named Tom Lacey when she was 15 years old. And he had 3 children. Pretty good size. I don't know how old they were. But they moved to Tulsa, and she didn't live with him very long, so she come back home. Then she married Henry Andrews. And they had a cafe over in Fort Smith. I don't know where she met him. I think Dutch brought him out here. And they married, and they had twins, Fred Andrews and Florence Andrews Scheidman.
Spell that.
Scheidmann.
Okay, then you were the baby.
And I was a baby. And I married Leonard Powell when I was.
Okay, now, tell me something about Leonard Powell.
Well,
Where did you meet him and what kind of dad? That's our direct people.
I met him in Model. He was in service. He went in service when he was 16 years old. No, he wasn't 16. He's 15, I guess. But he'd been in service 13 months when we married. He was just 16 when we married.
Okay, did you get it?
No, they had to sign the papers for me to get married.
How long did you get in service?
Not after we married any, but he was in there 13 months before we married.
Oh, he was getting out.
Well, he had come home on a furlough. His brother had married Jane's housekeeper. I'll leave it. And I was at the telephone office with Vivian Shepherd. And we were flirting, of course. And he asked me to a thing at the schoolhouse that night. So I began going with him, and when he went back to service, we got to writing. So when he come home then out of the army, we married. Well, he worked 2 days a week for my father on the farm to pay his board, and we lived with Mom and Papa farm. First year.
Now, your mother had Edith stay
Yeah.
at home.
Well, even though Edith had married Johnny Pratt by that time.
And then after Jane worked, then you went to Western Oklahoma?
Not until after Vivian was born.
Okay, R.C. and Vivian were born while you still living with your mother?
No, we lived in a little house that Mom called the Wiener. Over across, they had a little house just across the road from where they lived. And we lived there when they were born.
Oh, okay. How long did you live with them?
About 2 years. We lived first year just in the house with her. Then the next year we lived in the 2 front rooms.
Yeah. When did you live in the 2 front rooms?
When David was born.
Yeah, I remember that. And I can't
I
remember
know.
this. I don't remember. Where was okay, and after that you moved to the Wheaton house, you
Yeah. And we lived there until Vivian was born at the Weenie house. That's where she was born, her and R.C. Leonard went to Western Oklahoma to pick cotton with Terry and Henry. Pull cotton. They pulled it. And I couldn't go because I was pregnant with Vivian. But after she was born, the next year, we went out there to pull bowls. And
Now that would have been in 1927, 26.
so we went out there, and you was born in Cardell, but we had been out there farming, and Leonard was a cotton, gin and cotton.
Then after I was born, you must have moved.
We
Come
did.
on.
We did. We moved to Thomas. Abe Stevens was out there, and Leonard
How
was,
far was Thomas from Cardell?
about 100 miles.
Do you know the local county that's university?
So one of them's in Washita County, I think, but I don't know which one. And then we moved up there. Leonard moved up to Gin Cotton at Abe Stevens. He had a cotton gin up at Thomas. Then we moved out on Abe's place in the country, and Patsy was born.
Okay. And after Patsy was born, we come back.
But then we moved back to Cardell, and Leonard took care of the bank for rent on a house out on East Hill. And And then my father got sick. I had a cancer. And I come back and take care of him.
How long did Daddy back then?
Yeah, we come back, we moved back. We moved into Mama had 4 rooms on one side and then a big hall and then a dining room kitchen. And we moved into the dining room kitchen so I could be in the house there to take care of him.
Maybe that's what I.
And then,
The dining room and kitchen.
yeah, it was Mama's dining room kitchen.
It was in the back.
And well, it was in front, but it was across the hall from the 4 rooms. Then after Papa died, Papa was sick about 10 weeks, I think, and I took care of him. He had the Hodgkin's.
Papa and your mother take care of it.
She just think I fussed. And then Mama got sick. And May, after Papa died in November, and I took care of her. She had a heart attack down in the alley, picking up kids' cans. And she was bedfast for 6 weeks. 6 months, I guess. Anyway, she bedfast quite a while and I took care of her. Then after she passed away, well, we lived in the old home place until we built a house down on the corner of Church and Plan.
Hey, I remember Grandma. Okay, now that was the rest of the kids all going. No.
Well, Toy and Floyd was born in the front part of Mama's house.
Bobby was born in the old house too.
He was born in the front part, but is in the place where the fireplace was.
Okay, that's the part I remember. The fireplace.
And Sue was born in Mama's old house. Then we built the house across the street, and Jean and John and Faith was all born.
I remember Aunt Tracy. The long section.
So we moved after Mama died. We moved into the 4 rooms in the front part of the house. And Tersey lived in the dining room kitchen. Rented her house out. She had a house.
Well, now there was that house was long this way, then it had an addition on the side.
Had 2 front rooms, then 2 bedrooms back from the living room, and then a hallway. It was screened in, and then it had a big dining room because Mom always had a bunch to eat. Kitchen, back porch with a pump on it, smokehouse and milk house out there.
I remember hearing Stella Dallas going on sitting up in the breezeway, coming down the hallway. Well, it seems like I can remember Grandma home. Something about the kitchen.
Well, that Patsy was about 2 years old.
Something about the pots and
Come
pans.
back from Thomas.
I mean, I can't really. Yeah. Seemed like I remember
So
seeing
you
her
would have
bending
been-
over the stove, bending, looking
You
into
would have been about 4 years old. Because Patsy was 2 years old when we come back from Thomas.
You know, it seems like I remember. She looked so much like Aunt Daisy. I mean, of course, Aunt Daisy looked like her. But I remember seeing bending in, looking in the oven. Did you have a
Little range.
yeah, that's what
With
I
a reservoir on the end and warming faucet across the top.
I remember being a big stove with her bending over and looking at you. Seemed like it said on side of
Yeah, had a wood box beside it.
yeah. Well, maybe I do remember, but I don't know why, but that's the only image that I can bring up.
Had a big long shelf instead of built-in cabinets. Had a big long shelf over on one side of it, and an old safe top that Mom put her dishes in. Saw from an old safe sitting on one corner there.
Of course, I sold some few things, but I can remember once you all lived. Did you live in the back section where you said it was in my shoes, and then one of the shoes being in this time it was a little round stuff like that.
It wasn't big on that monkey either. It was a roof that was cooked on a monkey either. That had another on the stove top. And
I vaguely remember there was a room out to the side off of this porch that had the pump in it, that had been added on or something.
but we lived
That enclosed part of the porch, maybe.
yeah.
And
Yeah, we built a porch out, but we used to call it the boy house because the boarders all stayed up there. And it had a bed in it. Drinking porch. Went out of between the milk house. Then we lived up in Clinton a while. Later, Mr. Goucher home. I lived in a granary, they called it. I called it barn.
born and died.
Oh, yeah.
I told Lindsay about Jack Allen about how I was supposed to come home and leave the home and babysit on the cottage here. As a punishment, and Jack Allen thought it was the most hilarious thing, he was totally weird. I had to sit on the cottage here. But you don't know what I'm thinking about now. Your dad's mother from they came to Mississippi, where in Mississippi. That's a dead end. No. You don't have any idea Mississippi.
I think I've heard Papa say, but I don't know where.
Did he have just the two brothers? Is that all he had?
No, you had Uncle Sam, Uncle Ned, Uncle Joe, had a half-brother named Bess Hickson, half-brother. Had a sister named Betty
Hickson.
No, her name was Nicole. She married Gates. That was
Around here.
down in Russellville, somewhere down there.
The James.
But I just never did. I heard them talk, of course, it didn't register.
But do you know where any of his brothers and sisters went to?
Uncle Bev and Uncle Sam went to California. They both dead now, but around Huntington, Uncle Bev lived. And Uncle Sam lived around Los Angeles.
Okay, and what was the
Then
daddy?
he had a brother named Joe. He lived here. He lived out in Mono for a long time. He married a widow named Mary Mitchell.
Where did his kids go?
They all lived
But your
up
family was telling the Coker family.
Lydia and stuff. Married to Howard. She lives in California. I think Maggie and Perry are dead. right, let's see what we can do on your mother. But you first said that your Betty was a sister that was married to a Yates, and then you backed up and said that Betty could have been your grandmother because there used to be an Uncle Joe Yates that came to see you. So I don't know, it might work on that a little. You don't remember your grandma and grandpa then. You didn't have one. Oh, they died before you were born. Did they die before any of the kids were born? Don't make any difference, they're all dead too, aren't they? Can't get anything that way. Okay, we're going to work on the Miller, or the grandmother's side, or her mother's side. Back up. And, okay, you're going to talk about mother was. Let's see. How much better today? Brothers and sisters. My mama's name was May Florence Miller before she married Papa. Before she married Lem Miles. And she had a sister named Allie Miller that married Jim Green. The Greens in South Monroe, too. And let's see, she had a brother named Howard. She had a brother named Lamont. She had a brother named Clemmy. I guess that one sister was all she had. She had 3 brothers. Did they live in Oakville now? Uncle Mark lived in Salsa. And Uncle Clemmy used to live in the Bottoms. They left here a long time ago and went in a covered wagon to New Mexico. That's where they lived when they died. And Uncle Howard lived at Henrietta. And Allie Green always lived around Marlboro. Uncle Jim got killed. He had brought a little bale of cotton to town. I think he fell off a bit and got killed, I think. He was pretty bad to drink. I think her mother must have been named Teresa Green before she married a Miller, because I know they used to say there were several that Greens had married Millers, and Millers had married Greens. Greens had married Millers, and it come down to Tenny. I think one of Tenny's girls married Green. Okay. His name was Sidney Miller. Yeah. Do you know where either one of them is? Mom called him Illinois. Do you know Queen? Did she have any brothers? Did they all come together? I don't know. Was she born in Illinois? Yeah. And Father, do you know where he was from? That's your grandpa. He must come from Illinois too. I don't know. Were they married? I don't know. I just don't know. But yeah, they found him there because I said you were born in 1905. Indian Territory was 1907. I mean, Oklahoma State 1907. Okay, but it wasn't opened up in 1880, was it? Then when it was opened up, they had the great run in 1889. I don't know. But they wouldn't have been white settlers in here. They'd been 90. They'd just be 16 and they would here. Keep that here. anybody would know. And this Fred Green is in South. Which Green does he come from? Oh, he was, his father was St. Alley Green's boy to Bert. St. Alley had over. St. Alley Miller married Bert Green. Oh, he married Jim Green. Married Jim Green. And Jim Green. And they had Ivy. They had Ivy and Oral and Bert. All of them. Manny and Kenny and Brian. That's all they had. And then Bert, out of that marriage, Ivy Bert married. Bert is Fred Green's father. Fred Green's father. His mother was Green.